Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with the 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado. Now this has 1,500 horsepower, 1,100 pounds-feet of torque from an 8.9 litre supercharged V8 engine. The car itself now weighs 3,895 pounds, has all-wheel drive, off-road tyres and off-road suspension, and it can now do 0 to 16 3.138 seconds, 0 to 100 in 5.907 seconds, and going to a top speed of 237 miles an hour. Now obviously the speed on this course really isn't all irrelevant, but is obviously quite high, but the acceleration, launch and off-road capability are pretty good. Braking is decent, although we have obviously far better, and even though the handling is far from the best that we've had on this series, we have obviously seen far worse as well. But despite the stats, I feel because of the weight of this car and its really rather quite large dimensions, I still don't think it's going to be all that quick. But it's going to be interesting to see what it can do against the rest of the lineup that we've had on this series so far. And since I'm a big fan of this car in its stock form, I figured since this is now our 30th vehicle on this series so far, I want to give it a chance really. So yeah, it's not going to beat the Ford Mustang Mach-E from the previous episode, which managed to get to the top of the leaderboard, but like I said, it will be interesting to see what it can do in comparison to the rest of the lineup, given this was originally a front-wheel drive car, had around 1,100 horsepower less than it has now, and yeah, certainly wasn't meant for this kind of speed, let alone doing it off-road. So yeah, should hopefully be an interesting one really. I have been enjoying driving this on the game in stock form or slightly upgraded, because I did actually take part in the trial for the current season of the festival playlist, where it's anything goes for top C class, and I thought let's upgrade this from mid D class to get it up to top C class, and it's actually performed pretty well. Came third place at least once and came top 5 in the other couple of races, so yeah, performed really rather well, especially considering it was still front wheel drive. Still weighed well over 4,000 pounds, and yeah, only had a few extra horsepower over standard. So yeah, I just don't think people were expecting it to be that good, especially considering it was still front wheel drive. That actually paid dividends in the corners, to be honest, because I upgraded the tyres slightly and widened them at the front a hell of a lot, and it ended up turning in really rather nicely. And it's not struggling with the all-wheel drive system either here, despite the fact that it was never meant for rear-wheel drive power. Handling it good. Crucially, it's still got the decent turning circle that the original car had, which it needed, being front-wheel drive and quite a long car. The off-road elements aren't proving too difficult either. And it seems to be okay with the power as well. All is good for now. Oh dear, yeah, slightly overcooked coming into that corner. So we use one of our rewinds to slam on the brakes. Go much better. So we have 2 rewinds left now. 45 down, that's straight there. Quick for a car of this size and weight. To realise that most of the cars that we've taken on the series do way less than this, so it's quite a hunk of metal to get down this course. More than capable of shifting that weight with all that extra power it's got, which is why I opted for this engine. It's not the most powerful engine you can put in it. You could put in the 1,750 horsepower. I think it's still a V8 engine, but that's twin turbos, so that's why it's got that bit extra power. And I think that would have been a little bit too much for this. but that is hardly proven to be the slowest car in the series, and by quite a long way at 3 minutes 27.625, which actually puts it into the top 10, surprisingly enough. Not by much, it's only just over 0.1 of a second quicker than the Volkswagen Golf R, but that is a lead, and a lead means it gets into 10th place, which is, yeah, pretty damn good, to be honest. And yeah, it's just under 0.6 of a second behind the Audi TTS RS, which again, that car had all-wheel drive standard and is lighter than this, so to be not far behind that is really rather impressive. It's also beaten the Porsche 911 Desert Flyer, the Ford Bronco, the Toyota Land Cruiser AT37, the Sierra Cars RX3, the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, and the Porsche Macan LPR Rally Raid, which are all fairly solid off-roaders. And yeah, but it is obviously slightly behind, like I said, the Audi TT RS, as well as other cars like the McLaren GT, GMC Jimmy, Toyota 4Runner, and obviously the Ford Mustang Mach-E from the previous episode. But still, for a car that still weighs nearly £4,000, is, you know, nearing 60 years old in terms in its anniversary, it's putting a really rather impressive performance, again considering all the extra power it's dealing with, the much larger engine, the all-wheel drive system, and all the off-road elements. I think it put in a good showing, to be honest, and yeah, I'm pleased for it, considering it's one of my favourite cars out of the car pass. So yeah, I am glad it has done as well as it has. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.